morning. It's Tuesday, July 12th. We're in the middle of July, and it's very, very hot. I'm Dr. Tony Rayles Sutherland, and with me today is Dr. Natalie Garza, who is the coordinator of the Bridge Puente project at HCC. How you doing, Natalie?
I'm good. Thank you.
Very good. So is it hot enough for you?
Yeah, it's really hot. I'm trying to stay cool in the house.
Yesterday, my electricity went out. Parts of the city went out, and hot and no electricity does not equal to a good time. But anyways, let's get back to how people can find us. Natalie, tell us how everybody can find Up to the Minute.
We're live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and YouTube. So it's Houston Community College, not HCC. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Thank you. And you know what? You've heard of the Sims game, right? Most people who have dealt with computers for a while have. But today we welcome someone who takes it to a whole new level. His name is Daniel Guzman, and we'll be with you, Dan. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm fine, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Great. He's from Coleman College. He's a clinical simulation lab technician, and he's going to tell us a little bit about some really neat simulations in about 10 minutes, and Dr. Garza is going to interview him. But first, we have Tasty Tuesday today, of course, one of my favorite days because I love to eat. We have the return of one of our favorite vegan chefs who has a new enterprise. It's a vegan pizza delivery. Leigh Marshall, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine, doing great. Now, we're looking forward to hearing all about these vegan pizzas, and I think they're called Vizzas, right?
Yes,
instead of pizzas. Okay, I love it. And you and a partner are delivering to folks. It's a delivery thing. We want this healthy alternative, or for ethical reasons, they want this. So tell us a little bit about the history of Vizza instead of pizza. Vizza.
Vizza. Yes. So I've been vegan for 4.5 years, as I mentioned on our last video. And during that time, I spent a bit of time converting all my favorite comfort foods vegan because I missed them and I wanted them. Well, pizza was on the menu, and so we were like, well, how can we do this? And I put my head together with my business partner, Denise Coleman, and she and I for months tested pizza. Really sad for us, right? And we came up with a vegan version of America's favorite comfort food with our own house-made dough, our own house-made cheese and sauce, everything. We've done it all from scratch. And I mean, I have to say, it's fantastic. And this past weekend was our opening weekend. It was a little wild and crazy, but we made it. And we got a lot of great feedback from people. They loved it.
Excellent, excellent. So now, are all of your pizzas vegan or?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So your goal is to make this all vegan. And, what if I say, I really like pepperoni pizza. What would you say? How do you veganize that?
I have one right behind me. You want to see it?
Sure. Well, while you're doing that, tell us.
You see it?
It does, and it looks like pepperoni. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what we do is we use a product called Seitan. It's spelled Seitan, not to be confused with the other Satan. But what it is a mixture of vital wheat gluten and a lot of flavors that come together, and then you cook it a certain way, and you can create vegan meat substitutes with it. And so that's what we use for pepperonis. We do use the Beyond Meat products for things like Italian sausage, but otherwise we just load it full of veg. I mean, we've got sauteed mushrooms and roasted garlic and basil and everything delicious. And really, we can create anything that in a vegan format that you can do regular.
That sounds so good. Well, how did you, what made you become a vegan caterer to begin with?
Well, in 2015, I had a major surgery, and it was a bowel obstruction, and it caused a lot of digestive issues for me. So for 2 years, I kind of battled that and realized after 3 days of deciding all I wanted to eat was spinach salad, my digestion improved. And I noticed that. And then, more of the same, more trouble. And then a couple of years later, I just finally said, you know what? I'm just ready to ditch the meat. And when I did, it really made a difference. I lost 40 pounds. I felt better. My digestion was better. And, from that standpoint, it was wonderful. But then again, I didn't know what to eat. So that's when I went on the journey of learning how to create vegan food, but in ways that was fun and familiar, recognizable. You don't want to just live on salad. I mean, my father would joke with me that I just eat Johnson grass. And I'm like, no, Dad, it's not that. It's mac and cheese. Wait till you see.
Just because it's plant-based, it doesn't have to taste bad, right?
No, absolutely not. And there's a huge, sort of spread of different versions of vegan food, from the super, super healthy stuff, to the, vegan Big Macs. And we have it all, so it just shows that you really can, have a full life and a great eating experience without having to use animals or animal products.
Well, show us, you're going to whip up something for us. What kind of pizza or vizza? Pizza. I can't say pizza as well as I can say pizza. I don't know why. Vizza. What kind of pizza are you going to make us today?
Yes, I'm actually going to show you how to do a really quick and simple vegan Parmesan sprinkle. So I'm going to do it with my food processor.
That sounds good. I love Parmesan.
Okay, me too.
Whenever they ask how much Parmesan you want, I say, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going.
I used to do the same thing. There's cranking it and like, nope, not yet. Don't stop. So, of course, I didn't want to be without that either. But this is a pretty simple recipe. It's only about 6 ingredients, and you don't even have to cook it. You just need a food processor or like a NutriBullet, or even like a coffee grinder to make a small amount if you wanted to. Even a coffee grinder would work. I'm going to make a little bit of noise, but what this is 2 cups of cashews. It just goes right into the food processor. And just give it a quick pulse. Where you kind of want to chop it up a little bit. And then next in, we have an ingredient that's pretty unique to the vegan community. It's called nutritional yeast. It's just a non-active yeast.
Okay.
Yeah, nutritional yeast. It's full of vitamin B. It's really good for you. And it brings that umami flavor to everything that we do. So when we're trying to do cheese, this is like an absolute ingredient. You have to have it. So that goes in. This is a tablespoon of white miso. That goes in. A teaspoon each of garlic powder and salt.
Gotta have garlic. If you're doing Italian food, it's not Italian if you don't have garlic.
Sure. And then you need a little acid. So here's some lemon juice.
Okay.
Just pop that in there. And then all you do after that is just pulse the food processor. Get everything nice and mixed and get it to the size you want it. It's up to you. You can powder it or you can leave it a little chunky. And then this is what you end up with.
Ooh, I want some.
A little bit of a crumble.
Yeah.
It's a little salty. It's umami. It reminds you of Parmesan.
Yeah.
So then all we do after that is, Denise, if you could show the camera a little bit, please. I'm going to put this down for a second.
That's our non-pepperoni pizza.
There you go.
Oh.
Pepperoni pizza with Parmesan, all vegan, compassionate, no animals used.
Oh my God, I really do want some. That's a wonderful alternative.
Thank you.
Because one of the first things you think of, or I think of when I think of vegan, is like, I can't give up, I like chicken. I'm not a big steak person, but a lot of people are. But I do love my chicken and things like that. And it's
Sure.
like, what can, it just seems like it would be difficult. So if other people, if you're trying to figure out how to go vegan, what are some things that you can do? And I understand that your mother also had some influence in how you went about this.
My mom was an amazing cook, and she was a very down home Southern kind of cook. And she taught me a lot in the kitchen. And so she died in 1998 from cancer. And it was a huge blow to our family. But I feel like through the cooking and through doing this and being creative in the kitchen, I honor her. So that's a big part of it for me too. But as far as like what you can do, I mean, there are a lot of great vegan substitutes for even lunch meats, hot dogs, burgers, everything on the market right now where you could maybe do a meatless Monday. Anything helps, and the more we can reduce our consumption of animal products, there's just a lot of things that, are that benefit from that, like, environmental benefits. There's a lot of different things. So,
and the thing is you don't have to go completely vegan.
No,
you can start a little at a time, right?
Right. Not unless you want to. Everybody has to be ready to do any big decision like this. You have to be ready for, and I was. But I tell people, like, we're not the vegan police. We're not trying to, make everybody go vegan. We're just trying to offer recognizable, familiar options so that if they want to do, a couple plant-based days a week, they can, and they can still enjoy the food.
Have a tasty alternative.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
It's not a punishment. It's actually very tasty.
Yeah, it's not a punishment at all.
Okay. Well, thank you, Leigh. We really appreciate you being on, and that gives us some really good tips. Leigh Marshall, chef and co-owner of Angel Food Kitchen and Vizza. I kind of said it right.
We are on DoorDash. Mm-hmm. So if folks want to get delivery, they can pop onto DoorDash and find us there.
Excellent. And we're going to have more information about how to find you in our post after the show. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yay. Okay. Now, Dr. Natalie Garza, you have a very interesting person that you're going to interview. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yes. Moving on to Daniel Guzman Jr. He is the clinical simulation lab technician of HCC Coleman College for Health Sciences. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's fascinating that such a lab exists to help our students in a hands-on way. Can you tell us more about the healthcare and medical simulation-based education?
Yes. It's a big field, and simulation, according to Dr. David Gaba, who also is known as the godfather of simulation, it's a technique, a learning technique. And the learning technique, it also involves several learning theories, in especially Combs' theory of experiential learning, where the participant is involved in an experience, and then there's a cycle there's a cycle of learning that takes place based on the experience, and it has to be brought out through a discussion called debriefing, where the student reflects on that experience and then takes that information inward and then applies it later on. And that's what we're trying to accomplish through simulation. But basically, it's the same thing as when we were little and we were practicing to be a doctor or a nurse or a fireman. When we were little, we were going through the actions. We weren't really firemen, we weren't really doctors, but we were still going through the actions. And that's what we have our students do. They participate like they would be in the hospital setting, but this is a safe environment and it's controlled. And then the instructor is able to discuss what action was done with the student or the learner. It's student-centered, and it's very positive, and there's a discussion that takes place. It's not just feedback, it's a debriefing. And in a clinical environment, our students go in and different students have different experiences. Here it's a controlled environment, so all the students have that same experience. And the scenario, the simulation is at the level of the student, the learning level of the student. You want them to reach a little bit, but not something that's overwhelming because they haven't learned it yet. It takes first it's the didactic, the lectures, then it's the skills lab where they practice the skills. Then they apply everything plus the critical thinking in the simulation. It's a whole new learning experience for the students. It takes a little bit of adjustment, but they love it. They really like it. And learning should be fun. There's 3 phases in simulation. First is the pre-brief. They have orientation to the room. They need to know what the mannequin is, the functionality of the mannequin. Then there's the actual simulated event. And third will be the debriefing. And debriefing, there's a lot of different theories of different ways to apply the debriefing with different techniques. There's one called Pearls, debriefing with good judgment from the Center for Medical Simulation. There's tons of papers on this. It's a fantastic field.
It sounds really interesting, and they can get some really good experience there. Can you tell me a little bit about the simulation technology industry and organizations?
Yes, as I stated, this has taken off, and there's a society for simulation in healthcare, and they have certifications to make sure that everyone is at the right level of training and that everybody follows the best practices from the NLN. Also, other organizations have given support and information on building the structure to maintain the same level of teaching and learning across all the universities, colleges, all the hospitals. They all follow the best practices. And so the SSIH, they have certifications, one in operations, the CHSOS, and then there was one for the educator, the CHSE. I actually happen to have both certifications. There's less than 100 of us in the whole world. So that's a big accomplishment. But I wanted to make sure that I was well-rounded. And that's why I got certified in both. There's a lot of vendors. Laerdal is one of the major vendors. There's also CAE and Gomard Scientific, Simulades, one called Limbs and Things, Pocket Nurse. They're all out there, and they're all creating task trainers, either partial limbs or things to practice on, or full mannequins, like the SimMan 3G from Laerdal, that they blink, they breathe, they bleed, they even cry, they perspire, they do just about anything other than walking.
Great. So the industry does, the materials that students are working with, and then also certifications and things like that. Yes. What kinds of simulations does HCC offer? You kind of told us about the theories and the process of the classes and simulations, but what kinds of simulations does HCC offer?
Yes, well, it's not just here on the 10th floor at the Coleman Tower that we do simulation. We got surgical tech that have their own mannequins, and they do simulation with mannequins, dental, and I believe, and also the EMS, I think up on the North Campus. And so everybody does some kind of simulation. Simulation doesn't have to be with the mannequin. It could be an actor, one of us portraying a role, or we could also be a standardized, besides standardized patient, we could also be in the simulation to help the simulation go along or prompt the participant. So there's also hybrid simulations, but at Coleman over here, we actually started with just a lab 260, and we had a mobile RV. That was great because we were able to go to different HISD campuses and schools, and We also went to the George R. Brown Convention 2 times. So we were able to...
My understanding also is that we have almost like a floor of a hospital.
Yes, to get back to the tower, we tried to simulate that perfect hospital environment. So we do have the different rooms. We have an ante room, we have an isolation room, we have 2 obstetric rooms for birthing, ICU and for PD and adult. We have a nursing station. We have a trauma room as well. And we have a collaboratorium for the students to collaborate and use simulated scenarios on this. It's all screen-based. It's all virtual. And then they discuss what's going on and collaborate as a group. So we want them to work together. Sometimes we also have done some interprofessional education with some other departments as well, because they will have to work together in their hospital or clinical environment.
Oh, so we're able to work with the community also. So HCC is helping in that way also. Well, thank you very much, Daniel Guzman Jr., the Clinical Simulation Lab Technician of HCC Coleman College for Health Sciences. And we will have your info in our post after the show.
Thank you very much.
You know, I saw some of those simulation things. I was there when they did one of them, a couple of years ago, I think. And it was really neat. I mean, it really does look and feel like a real hospital. So, yeah, the students get some really good practice there. So thank you, Daniel. And we will have information about your program in our post after the show. Now, Natalie, we got some news, events, and announcements to go to. Why don't we start with Mental Health 101 Lunch with NAMI. HCC's Counseling and Ability Services is partnering with the National Alliance on Mental Health, or NAMI, for its Mental Health Matters Luncheon in July. HCC student Nicole Kwan will be among the presenters. The virtual luncheon is open to HCC students, staff, and faculty, and it will be July 14th, which is today, from noon to 1:30. And registration is I think you do have to register for it, but we have information about that in our post after the show. What else we got going on, Natalie?
Well, there are some summer audio workshops with HCC's David Sharma. This is a 4-weekend recording course that sounds really interesting. It touches on everything from music theory to creating beats, sampling, remixing, and using Ableton's live session and arrangement views. The course is noon to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. It started on July 9th, but the rest of the dates are the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th.
Speaking of dates, I don't know where I'm at. Thursday, July 14th, I'm 2 days ahead of myself. Today is Tuesday. But anyways, okay.
I didn't catch that either.
Well, speaking of, let's give credit where credit is due, at least book and supplies credit. Financial aid grants and loans may be available to assist students for books and supplies with the summer 2022 book credit. And it's available now through August 1st. So if you're going to take advantage of it, do it now. We'll have the financial aid book credit info in our post after the show. What else we got?
And the Media Arts Student Showcase for Spring 2022, and I guess it's going through summer. Spring compilation screening includes student projects from filmmaking, audio recording technology, and music business programs. It's through August 15th, and it's on YouTube. Registration not required, and we will have information about that in the post after the show.
Now, we all want to make a difference. And one good way to do it is to give a foundation donation. You can invest in Houston's future and support HCC student success by visiting the HCC Foundation page and donating just whatever you can. There are countless examples of students who have graduated and moved on to brighter futures than they ever would have had before because of such generous support from our faculty and staff. So we'll have a link about that in our post after the show. And so please check it out if you can. And we also got classes, right, that we're going to register for.
Yes, summer classes are still open. Actually, they're not. Summer session just started yesterday. So fall registration is all ongoing. Fall registration is going on now. Course options are online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, and hybrid lab. So for registration to all HCC programs, go to hccs.edu/apply.
And you need to apply now because don't wait to the last minute. Some of these face-to-face classes are very small. Like I have a drama stage makeup class. It only holds 6. It used to hold a whole lot more than that, but because of the COVID thing, it only holds 6. So you need to register now for all that. hccs.edu/apply. I'll get it right in a minute. Okay, so up next, former ABC Catherine O'Brien, who is still an adjunct, returns to discuss her work to generate grant funds for the homeless. So that will be very important to check out. What else we got on Wednesday?
And for Small Business Wednesday, we will be visited by a winner of the business plan competition that helps businesses win government contracts for women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, Natalie, and our audience for being with us today. We will keep you up to date on the latest in community and college news. So keep watching us. And we will see you next time on Up to the Minute.